We are Scatterbrains. My name
Hello.
is Haile Kilhofer. I'm the oldest sister in this group, or in this duo.
And then I am Kelsie Kilhofer. I am the second one.
Yep, the second one.
Or I guess the fourth one?
Yeah, so we share the same mom and dad. We're the only siblings of our group that have the same mom and dad. And then our dad had kids after his marriage to our mom, and had two more. And then before us, our mom was married to someone and had two kids with them. So we're like right in the middle. But
We are the middle children.
we're exactly in the middle. We are the middle ones.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And we're full
It
blood,
is.
so that's pretty cool too.
I know.
We like to hold that over our other siblings quite often.
I wonder what it makes them feel like. I wonder if they even care.
It probably makes them feel bad, because I remember Cannon and Drew, that's our youngest siblings, they said something. I called them my brother and sister at one point, and this is when they're old enough to realize that we aren't full. And they said, well, no, we're your half brother and half sister. And I was like, don't you ever say that to me.
Oh, I remember that conversation. Yeah. We both were like pissed. We were like,
I'll never do that. So
don't
then
do that.
Later in life, now that we kind of like put that on them, that they're not allowed to ever hold that against us when they're being total shitheads, I'm like, well, you're not my full sibling. It's messed up.
Oh man. But speaking of, so since we grew up not like growing up with them constantly, what's it like now with them? Because you live there.
So that's kind of the theme of this episode, huh? Is like
Mm-hmm.
living with split parents and kind of like living with long distance family. So me and Kelsie lived together for a long time, and after our parents got divorced, and Dad lived in another state when he got remarried and had kids, so we weren't there a lot to watch them grow up. But what we did get to do is visit them every now and then. So the relationship that I think we had was all really positive, when we saw
it was
rare.
We never fought with them because our time together was very special.
Yeah. So now that I've moved to Colorado, where my dad and his kids are now at, I see them a lot. And I would say that the positive time is not 100% of the time anymore. We definitely fight. And now that Cannon and I don't fight, but Drew's
She's a sweetheart.
And
yeah,
I fight with her. She's sassy.
Yeah. See, I don't miss us fighting, and I'm kind of glad I can't wait to move out there, but I'm kind of glad that I don't live there with them right now, because I don't want to fight with them, because I've never fought with them. Yeah. It was always just you and I fighting. So I
would say the fights with them are not the same as what you and I had, though. You and I would fight
really
bad.
No, ours were like physical, vicious, manipulative.
Physical, emotional abuse.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
My favorite story to tell, because by and large, I was definitely the meaner sister, and I know it and I recognize it. But there's one time that you did something that was just so horrendous, and I love to hold it. Like, I love to tell people. And it's when I was
which one is it?
I was sitting in that, remember the ugly green couches we had? There's like a green love seat and then the green like chair with the footstool.
Yeah, it was weird.
We would always fight over that. And so I had it all day and I wanted to stay in it. And you were like telling me to get out, like screaming at me to get off there. And I was like, no. Probably said a few curse words at you because I don't think Mom was in the room. And you were wearing these high heels, Mom's high heels that you were playing with. And you like stabbed me in the thigh. Like broke skin.
I remember this.
Oh, broke skin, and I had like a really bad bruise. But that's like the only time you ever really did something that bad. So
well, I'd tie it with the time that we were in the apartments in, what was it, Village Green Court, and you know how we had that loft upstairs? Loft. I remember like Mom called for you or something, and we were like fighting up in our room, and you like walked down onto like the little like middle of the stairs, that platform, you know what I'm talking about? And I remember I came up behind you. Maybe I dreamt this, but I swear it was real life. I like came up behind you and I ripped a handful of your hair out. Do you remember that? No?
I must have blocked that from my memory.
You must have, because I remember like
I kind of
storming down those stairs after you, and I like ripped a handful of your hair out, and you were like, what the fuck?
I'm not surprised. I'm totally not surprised.
But I think those are the only 2 times that I was physical with you.
Yeah. I think I was probably the most physically abusive.
Well, you throw freaking toys and Barbies at my head, so yeah.
Yeah, I remember I got mad and shoved you off the bed once we were like standing on the bed and you like fell and hurt yourself and you were crying. You were like 3 or 4. So thinking about this now, I feel like an ass, but I was 7. So like the age gap, I didn't think of you as a sweet little 4-year-old, you know, you were just my sister. And so I like shoved you off the bed and you started crying. And I was like, Mom, I told her to stop jumping on the bed, that she'd fall off and hurt herself.
You're so mean. But I remember always getting away with things. Like, even if I would antagonize you, I'd end up getting away with things because I was the younger one, so I could play that card. I remember always thinking that, oh, yeah, I still am.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. You're her favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, living separate from siblings, that's been hard. Our older ones, I feel like, I mean all the love in the world to Wesley. I just don't have like a relationship with him because of that long distance. So like we sat here and we talked about how close you and I are because we weren't long distance. But then like we talked about Drew and Cannon and we love them and we have a great relationship with them.
But we also watched them grow from like literal birth.
Yeah.
We didn't grow up with our older ones.
Yeah. And then like Wesley and Heather, we have a relationship with Heather because she actually lived with us for a while, but I don't feel that I really have a relationship with our older brother. And Wesley, if you end up listening to this, we love you.
Of course.
Brother, we just like didn't have the same upbringing, you know? So, I mean, that's a negative to having long distance family is that if both parties that are in charge of those little family units don't force the connection or like try to bring the people together, that connection kind of fades, I would say.
Yeah, I believe so, because I don't ever remember having a relationship with Heather except for when she moved out to Ohio.
Yeah, and that really, really built upon.
And it did. But even then, from my point of view at least, because you know, we're kids, we're always in our own little worlds and we always have our own little point of views. And I don't know, I just always remember growing up when she moved there, obviously it was great times because, you know, I got to build this relationship with my other older sister, but also it was like, I felt like you and her were closer when she was there because, you know, you guys had a relationship before I was even born. You know what I mean? So and the age gap. So I always felt like it wasn't like a constant like, oh, dang. But sometimes I would just feel a little like, oh.
Yeah, I can see that because she was in high school when she moved out.
She wasn't really.
And I was in like middle school or late elementary school. So I think, and you were so little. So
yeah, I was 8.
Yeah, I got to connect with her on these like more, not that we were adults, but like on these more tweenage things that you couldn't quite relate to, I would say.
Right.
So I definitely have a very close relationship with her. I hope that changes, or if it already has between you two now that like you're an adult now and, you know, we can relate on those levels. And I could even see that it happened when Heather had the twins and I moved out, not necessarily to Colorado, but even when I moved to my apartment, like you would watch them and you and them were best friends. And I'm sure Heather noticed that on some level. And as a mother myself, when someone loves your children so deeply like that, it's like this connection with you by proxy almost, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe when you guys got older that changed. I don't know.
I mean, okay, yes, when you moved out and she was still living here, like we definitely were closer. We'd have like, you know, sister dates. But once she moved away, I don't know. It's not like we don't have a relationship, but we were never close to begin with. So it's kind of just like, it's not bad, but it's not like, you know, you and I.
This is just what distance does.
But exactly. It's just because she's not there and like she has her own career. I'm doing school, you know.
Yeah.
It's just the way life is, I guess.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. It's Yeah, distance does odd things to people. That saying, distance
Mm-hmm.
makes the heart grow fonder. I don't know about that.
No, it kind of just makes you, from my view, forget. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's bad to admit, but like,
No, I mean, I think that the whole family realizes, like, I'm probably the worst about calling and texting family. I'm really bad at it. I don't do it. Like, I can't remember the last time I called Grandma Ann. I mean, I
yeah.
just visited her, but like, and it's taken family some time to realize that, like, me not calling doesn't mean that I don't love them. That they're always kind of like somewhere in the back of my mind and I'm thinking about them, but life just
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets crazy and it gets ahead of you. And it's really hard to think, even for, I know it takes 0.5 seconds to send a text message that says, I love you and I'm thinking of you, but
Yeah.
I don't think to do it, you know, but that doesn't mean I don't love
Yeah. No, I get that completely. Cause I don't know. I guess I've always been like a very lovey-dovey
you have.
person.
You've been the
So
most affectionate of all of us. That's for sure.
I believe I am. I don't know. I just love love. But I what am I saying? But like sometimes I'll just get these bursts of like, oh my god, I miss everybody. So then,
Yeah.
but it's like all at once. So I'll text like you and then dad and then Heather and then Wesley and then grandma and then like all these people at once.
That's
But I don't
good.
know. It's not like all the time, but I do get these bursts of like, oh man, I just miss them.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I do feel that way, like I miss somebody, but then I almost feel like I'm inconveniencing them to reach out sometimes. I know it's
Yeah,
not true,
that's
like in the
true.
back of my mind. I know that's not
Yeah,
the case.
but it's also like you don't know because life is busy for everybody, you know?
Right, right, exactly.
Like sometimes I'll call you spur of the moment and then it'll only be like a couple minute conversation, but I'm fine with it because I realize I'm like,
Yeah, we got to talk, you know?
exactly. We got to talk, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Which is
I
nice.
think that yeah, like even this week, usually you call and I'm like on my way to work and we talk the entire time until I get to the point where I can't talk anymore and someone comes in. So I need
Yeah.
to get better about doing that with more people in our family though.
Hmm. Yeah.
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 So
You're
then
I wouldn't but I wouldn't say you're the worst though, because I never hear from Heather. I never hear from Wesley. Not against them because they have their
right.
own lives and we were never close to begin with. But I don't think you're
Right.
the worst of us.
That's fair.
Drew and Kanan are just young and in their own worlds and like lose their phones half the time.
That's true. And randomly we'll get like the most random like app invite from Canon and I'm like, I get
Yeah.
those and I'm like, what? I'm not gonna add you on those like random Facebook app.
Yeah.
I don't get texts
Yeah.
that say, I love you, how's your day? It's funny, but I know that I know that the love's there. So I mean, I guess
Of course.
yeah, distance doesn't take that away, but you're right, you're spot on with like it can kind of cause you to forget.
It does.
Yeah. So I mean that I guess kind of relates in then to another thing we wanted to touch on was like long distance, well, having split parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So our mom and dad got divorced or split up before you were even born.
Yeah.
So I kind of watched them separate. I didn't know mom was
What was
pregnant.
that like? I don't think we've ever talked about this.
Yeah. I was like, oh, 5-ish. I don't know. I was really little. So you know how memories at that time are just like little images and sounds, sensory
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stick with you. And I
Yeah.
remember at the time I had one of those like plastic beds, you know, like a toddler bed that looked like a little house type thing.
Yeah, those are cute. Oh,
Yeah.
but cute.
And I remember laying in there and hearing mom and dad argue. By no means when I'm talking about this do I feel like I'm emotionally damaged from any of this. Like at the time I had no idea what was happening. Now that I'm an adult, I realized that it stuck in my mind because probably this part of me felt like uh, I don't know, like it was important that I needed to stash it in the recesses of my mind. And now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
an adult, I realized that that was probably the end. So I remember an argument and it was a big one. It was enough to stay in my mind. And then like the next memories I have were in this apartment, mom and me. And dad lived in the house that they had bought and he was selling it. Those are like that. It's like this one memory of fighting. And then the next memory is not even living with dad anymore.
Oh,
So
okay.
he would come to visit all the time though, because we were both mom and dad were in Colorado at the time, and dad would come and either hang out at the apartment with us because dad and mom had the same friends, Cal and Nancy.
Oh yeah.
And so they'd still hang out and like drink and play cards and do that kind of stuff. So I didn't feel like I missed out on him. It wasn't.
What were they like? Can you remember what they were like when they were together, like at that point?
I don't remember
any
affection. I have no memories of any affection.
Between them at all?
Yeah, I was so little. I mean, like, I have memories of them being there together, experiencing something with me. Like, I have a memory of dancing on the fireplace, and I think I was naked dancing on the fireplace, and they're sitting on the couch together. Even in my memory, I don't remember them, like, cuddling or being, like, too close to each other. So,
like holding hands or anything.
I'm sure that they were affectionate, but I don't have memories of it. I don't have any picture.
I mean, you were so young.
Yeah, I have no.
You forget memories after a while.
Yeah, as a romantic couple or anything. So to me, I've never been hurt by the idea that they weren't together. And even as a child, maybe our parents saw a different side. Maybe I cried when they told me and whatever. I don't remember being sad. I don't remember knowing.
Hey, this is something we should talk about.
Yeah.
Like in another podcast, is like get them in and all of us just kind of talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be really like opening a whole new thing that I don't know what would come out of it, but I want to see that, because seeing them in Colorado a couple weeks ago when we were visiting.
Kelsie and my mom came out to visit for Ember's first birthday party, and Jordan's
your daughter, for those who don't know.
Yeah, Ember is my daughter. And Jordan, my fiance's parents, came out too, so it was like a full family get together. But we went out to dinner one night, and our dad and our mom was there, and it's super weird because we never see them together. We never see them like giggle and laugh and reminisce.
Like, it was so weird. Like, I never grew up. Like, when I was growing up, they were always in different states, so it was like I have never, ever, ever seen them in the same room. I don't have any memories. I know mom said, like, at your graduation, but I don't really remember that.
Really?
I don't really remember him. I don't. I mean, I remember him, like, coming to visit, but I don't remember, like, that whole time that he was there.
I remember he got along a lot, like, really well with Jeff. I don't remember a lot of, like, connection between mom and dad. It wasn't like it was this time where they're talking and reminiscing and talking about the past.
Yeah.
And, like,
that was so weird to see them like that.
And then when he came for my graduation, they were cordial and, they're family by extension, but I had never seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. It was cool to see them when I was visiting, interact with each other, and very weird. I felt very out of my body. It was like an out-of-body experience.
I remember leaning over to Grandma Ann saying, like, this is so weird. This is crazy.
The whole time I was just sitting there like, what's going on? I'm out of my body right now. I don't know. I was just so weirded out by it in my own little bubble of like, what the heck?
It's so funny. I've said the same thing to dad and mom since then and been like, it was crazy. You guys, we're together and like, we're laughing and talking and they were like, oh, really? Why was that weird for you?
I know. Like they were just so, right. We're like, do you not know that like, I haven't seen you guys together in, I don't know, my whole life?
Yeah, so it kind of makes me wonder what their perspective on this is. Like, I wonder if they just skip over the years where they were apart, and like what they remember is the things that you and I never experienced, where they were like affectionate and loving and had a relationship before us. They had friends and they had experiences and inside jokes, and we've not seen any of that.
Never.
Super weird.
I think we should put them on the spot.
I think that was a really good idea.
I think that would be really entertaining for everybody.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess that's one downside to split parents is we're sitting here saying that we didn't get to experience, like, we didn't learn affection from watching our mom and dad. We learned affection from watching our dad with someone else or our mom with someone else or the love that we had for each other. But compared to like a lot of people that watch, even if their parents are divorced now, that watch their parents like love each other growing up, or Jordan's parents have never been divorced. They married each other and and like I think Damon, Jordan's dad, was like Dina's third ever lover or something like that, and they've been together for like 30 years. That's crazy to me. That like blows my mind.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane. And so, yeah, probably people hearing this that didn't have the same experience we have, they think it's, you know, so sad, and it's not. I mean, I don't feel sad.
I know, like I hear a lot of, you know, the way that I look at it is you can't miss what you never had. And I don't mean that in like a sad, oh, boo-hoo way, but like,
right.
We never had that growing up, so can't really miss it. But also, they were like always like moved away from each other. So it was, at least from my point of view, it was a fun expedition to go visit our dad. You know what I mean? Like it was, and we visited so many places that I don't think we would have visited had our parents been together. You know, like we got to experience a lot that other people haven't. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally get it. Yeah, I think that we wouldn't have moved as much. To kind of like give a timeline to the people listening. So after you were born, not long after, I can't remember how old you were, but Mom, you and I left Colorado, and Dad stayed behind. And then Dad joined the Air Force. He was in the Army, and then he joined the Air Force, so got back into the military again, and then was deployed to, I think it was North Carolina next is where he went. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I remember being really young in North Carolina.
Yeah, so like it was already kind of like that geographical split pretty young. And Mom has this sort of like traveler's heart because she's always been married to people who traveled all over the country. And then,
well, she also grew up with split parents too, so she got to travel from like Ohio to California and wherever else.
And her dad moved a few times. So she's been like a traveler at heart. So she bounced around all over the United States while we were little. So we got to live all over the place, and then go visit Dad once or twice a year wherever he was living. And we never lived in the same state at the same time ever again.
Never.
Even to this day, you know, we're all in separate states. Hopefully that's going to change in the future. We're trying to convince everybody to come to Colorado because it's really awesome out here.
Because then everybody would be there. And then we wouldn't be weirded out at our parents hanging out like 20 years later.
But yeah, we wouldn't have experienced all that moving if it weren't.
No, we wouldn't. We really wouldn't have.
So I'm really grateful for that. There's no part of me, I can't speak for you, but there's no part of me that feels like I wish they had been together. In my heart, I know that they are not meant to be together. And if anything, it's been really joyful to watch like our parents fall in love with other people. So
it really has been.
Yeah. So I'll let you tell Mom's side of things that happened. And I'll kind of tell Dad's. Dad married this woman named Kim. Funny, our mother's name is also Kim. So
I know, you know, I find that really ironic.
And then he dated a Kim after that. But Kim,
really?
Yeah, Kim and him were together for 12 years or something like that. It was awesome. It was great.
Well, yeah, I remember growing up visiting Dad and Kim. Like, I remember it just being Dad and Kim, and then Mom, and then a few years later, her ex-husband.
Yeah, you totally grew up knowing Kim and Dad and nothing else, really.
Yeah, I knew nothing else but Kim and Dad, you know, that was it. So I think watching them split up,
that was almost like a fairy tale crashing apart, you know. We thought that
it was. I thought they were just gonna, I don't know. I guess in my head, I kind of treated it just like as if it was Mom and Dad together in my head of like, well, it's just always been them and they'll always be with each other. So that's just the way life is,
so that's an interesting twist, actually, because I think I was more devastated and devastated is a stretch. I wasn't like wrought over it and sad for weeks because I got to see what was going on with them once I moved out.
Yeah, because you were
experience it.
Yeah.
And so their divorce was more upsetting than Mom and Dad's divorce.
Right.
For me. Yeah.
For you. Yeah.
And probably you, because that's all you ever knew. And then
Well,
at the same
yeah.
time, all you ever knew was Jay and mom. And then
I remember before she was with Jay.
really,
I do remember before she was with Jay.
that's cool. Yeah, she
Not a
dated
lot,
around
but
a
I
little
do
bit.
remember.
Mom did her thing.
She did. She went out.
She did. She did.
But I don't know.
Was it hard for you when they got divorced? Jay and mom?
Absolutely not.
Because we don't have to dive into their relationship.
We're not going to delve into that. Because that's a real long conversation.
But I am surprised by that, though. I really am, because I feel like he was a father figure at some point in time for you. So I always thought that you must have been really upset by it. But it's really good to hear that you weren't.
You know, I wouldn't say, I don't know. See, I have conflicted feelings about that, because I don't know if it's because of everything that happened that makes me feel so like, okay, it is what it is because you did all these things. Like, you know what I mean? Or I don't know if it's just like, because I did love him, but I wouldn't say I thought of him as a father figure.
Really?
Because I don't know.
Do you think it changed? I guess. Like, do you think you did at one point and then that stopped?
I saw him as a playmate, not a father figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never like, not that I like didn't respect him, but like I just didn't have that father figure respect.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I mean, nothing against our dad. I love our dad, but whenever I was visiting, I always hung out with Kim because I don't know. I grew up with you and mom, and like that was that. You know, I've only known like Village of Girls, so like to have Jay in my life was just like, oh, he's just a cool buddy that is married to my mom, and I do love him. But then whenever I was visiting dad, I mean, I loved him. I love him. But I never really saw him as that kind of like father figure either, because whenever I saw him, it was like we had fun and we did things and like, you know what I mean?
But so he wasn't there for like the punishments and the like.
No, he wasn't. So I'd say Jeff is, I don't want to offend anybody if they're going to actually listen to this, but I see Jeff more as a father figure because he was there through my dark shit. You know what I mean? Like, and he was the one that sat out there in the garage with me while I was like bawling my eyes out about some stupid boy, and him giving me like advice from his own.
So Jeff is our mom's fiance right now. So they've been together for as long as me and Jordan have been together. Actually, they met about 6 months before us. So
Oh, was it really that close?
Yeah, it was really close. It was the summer so at the beginning of the summer, my high school boyfriend and I split up. And then that later in the summer, I met Jordan. And since then we have been inseparable. But right before, it was that same school year. And I think it was before my high school boyfriend and I split that mom and Jeff got together. Yeah. So I can remember see why he's more of a father figure to you, because he went through your teenage years. He went through childhood to teenage years and watched you. I mean, how old you were, like 13 or 12 when they got together?
It was 6th grade, halfway through 6th grade. So I think I was like 12 or 12. I was 12.
Yeah. So he kind of watched you go through your teen years, and those are hard times. I think you and I both, those were our hardest times in our childhood.
I agree. I would say nuts. Both of our stories, Hailey, are like book worthy.
Yeah, they are.
We should do podcasts about both, like one podcast about your thing, one podcast about my thing. I don't know if you want to dig that shit up though. But
maybe, I don't know. I was definitely like, I was sassy. I was and Kelsie just did bad stuff.
I just did whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm 13. I'm an adult. I'm gonna go jump out my window and do like 4 hours of crazy shit and then jump out.
See, I didn't like sneak out. I definitely I
You're
definitely
just
talked to mom crazy. I was.
yes, I am terrified of her.
Yeah. Oh, we also saw a side of mom we didn't know existed. And she's a tough cookie. She's tough.
She's a hard one to crack.
But I you know what? I'm grateful she didn't kill us during our teenage years, because I think most women would have murdered us because we were
They
bad.
they would have been like, you know what? Just go for it. You're out of control.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and she dealt with us back to back. So it was like
She did.
my teenage years, and then I moved out and I was gone. And then as soon as I was gone, you were entering your teenage years. So it was just back to back for that poor woman.
I know. Now she's so resentful. Okay, no. That was bad. I don't know. She's not resentful. She's
She
just kind of
remembers
like
it. It's burned
she
in her.
remembers it.
She has PTSD. That's what it is.
She has Haile and Kelsie PTSD.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But hey, you know what? Now that I think about it, we both are hers. So like it's her fault.
I heard
you know what I
she was a
mean?
terror as a teenager from Grandma
Yeah.
Ann and Grandma Nancy, and
Yeah.
man, yep, she was a terror.
But on a different level of our terror.
Yeah, I think she was both of us combined. Because from everything I've heard,
So.
she was super sassy, but she did the stuff that you did. So
Yeah, that's
she
true.
might have gotten off easier with this, because we kind of like split it, gave it to her in doses.
Yeah, we did.
We love you,
man.
you know it.
Yeah, we love you so much. Oh,
Oh,
God.
that's funny.
That is.
But
we were saying something and got way off track.
yeah, I mean, I guess the last thing that we have kind of on our little list of topics to talk about in regards to this is how it's like how this distance is affecting us now. So we've kind of talked about the past
Oh, yeah, that's right.
and teenage years, but how it's affecting us now, because I moved about 5 years ago.
Has it really been 5 years already?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
And in that time, I've gone to college, I've graduated, I had a baby, I got engaged, I'm getting married this summer. And
holy shit.
Kelsey's going through things. She's graduated. She was going to college, and then she's like became an adult and started working and got her first car. And like I was missing these things, and she was missing the things that I was doing, and our mom was missing the things that I was doing. And our dad wasn't, and our dad wasn't necessarily the guy who like raised us when we were younger. So I wonder what that does to mom sometimes. I hope she doesn't feel that like I have chosen him over her. There's just equal love there, and massive gratitude for everything she's done for us. So yeah, I don't know if you have a perspective on that, but at least for mine, the perspective that I worry about the most is continuing to miss out on your milestones and worrying how mom feels about dad being the one to experience my adulthood milestones.
Yeah, I get that. From my perspective, at first it didn't suck. Like all those years before you even like got pregnant, it didn't really suck for me. Okay, it did in the sense that I couldn't have just been like, hey, can you come pick me up and like let's go do something. Like that was out the window. But yet I love traveling because we traveled our whole life to visit dad. It's exciting to me to go out there and have that like guaranteed once a year trip. You know what I mean? So like to me it was still exciting. I didn't really I missed you, but I didn't feel like I was missing out on milestones because you were just going to school and working.
Yeah, I hadn't really started hitting those yet.
Right. But then it was once you got pregnant that I I think it was when you got closer to like giving birth to Ember that it like really started to, it still does affect me, but because I don't know.
I know, that's fair. I would be devastated if I had a child and like I was missing out on it. I really would be.
Like it hurts. Like I don't want to get emotional, but it does because you and I are so close that like it tears me in half not to be able to be there when Ember was born. Like that hurts. And then to not be there to watch her walk, like I know she was like standing up when you were visiting, but I didn't get to like watch her take her first steps, because I got to watch the twins, you know, achieve all these milestones. And then now, like, no offense to Heather or the twins, but now that like my sister, who is mine solely, is now like having this other human being, and I am missing out on like all of these things. So it sucks. It really does suck. But it I guess it doesn't suck as of right now, because I know I'm moving out there in like a year.
Yeah.
So
I'm really excited about that.
You know, I'm not really missing too many milestones at the moment, because she's already walking. She's got teeth.
Another baby. You're
gonna have another baby. You know what? I'll catch you on round 2. I'll catch all those milestones.
No offense to Ember.
no offense to Ember, but I got the second one.
That's funny. How do you think mom is affected by it, you think?
So I know it hurts her too, not to see. She doesn't really like to talk about it a lot. Sometimes she'll confide in me and like talk to me about it, but I know it sucks for her. Yeah. And I feel like I don't want to put words in her mouth, because this, you know, this isn't like, I don't know. I just don't want to like assume what she feels. But from what she has told me is like, it definitely really does suck not be there.
Yeah.
To watch.
Yeah, it really hurts, I guess, from my perspective, to not have her there for those things. I mean, I think that you guys have done, I think we've all worked really hard together to make up for that, though.
Agreed.
That, like, you guys came to visit very soon after Ember was born, and you came out for her first birthday. And
you guys were out here for a while too.
Yeah. And when I needed like a last minute nanny for like 5 days of the week, it was just as much to hire a nanny as much as it would cost to fly mom out and do it for me.
Yeah, which I know she loves doing.
Yeah. So I think it's cool that we've all done like a really good job of, you know, making sure that we stay close and that we don't miss out on too much. But I do know that like, it's interesting for and me kind of speaking for Dad's perspective. I know that it probably really, it's kind of the same like what you said with Mom. Like they don't really talk about it and what effect that must have on them. And sometimes I think it does hurt that he misses out on you. Now that I'm out here, I don't know if it hurt as much. I'm sure that it did, but he never talked about it when you and I both were gone and like not near him. But I think that now that I'm here, it probably hurts him a lot more to like now be experiencing me growing up and like know that like he's missing out on the equivalent with you. So I would say that he has changed in that way. Although I can't speak for how he felt when we were both gone, but at least from what I've seen since I've been out here.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it definitely hurts for both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know, they just don't talk about it.
Yeah. And maybe it doesn't. You know,
maybe they're just like, okay.
Yeah. Because
I guess
I don't care.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But Mom's like a very loving human being.
Yes.
So I know it does hurt her. And I feel like sometimes she like, honestly, sometimes she does feel a little cold, as of like, in the sense that like, well, Tony gets to watch Ember grow up. Yeah. And I don't, you know? So I think in that aspect, she is a little, I'm not going to say butthurt, but like, I think it definitely does hurt her.
I'm sure. Yeah. I think about that all the time.
Because I think she has said before, not putting words in her mouth, but I think she has said before, like, I raised you guys. Like, it was just us. Why does he get to?
Yeah. I think about that all the time.
Which I get, but I think that's really the main pusher for her moving out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Kelsie's moving out here. We're hoping. You better. And then
I will. As soon as I finish my degree.
Yes. And then at some point, Mom's coming too. So we got to stay on top of her. She's got to get her ass out here.
Well, she said the main kicker was when when we were all visiting, and Grandma Ann even said, like, you need to be out here with them.
Yeah, she said, why not? What is your reasoning not to?
Yeah, and then Mom was just like, oh.
yeah, mom had a couple reasons, and then I won't share those here because they're personal. But
Right.
then Grandma Ann was like, those are not real issues, you know, things
Yeah.
that like if it's meant to be and it's something that you want to do, you're living this life once and you need to do it. And I think that really lit a fire under mom. And she's
I
taught us
agree.
that. Like our whole lives has taught us like YOLO, but never said it like that.
Right. We did the YOLO thing before. It was
YOLO.
a thing.
No, but she's always taught us that, life is very short, and she's gone through some crazy losses, and she's, lost her first love tragically, and
Yeah.
had relationships with family crash, but she's also at the same time done what she's wanted to do and moved around and lived her life, and
Yeah, she has.
yeah, and tried to play out her dreams as much as she could. And so to see her almost I feel like saying stagnant is a more negative word than I intend, but seeing her kind of stagnate in Ohio worked for a little bit because I thought she was happy, and then now I've seen her not be happy there. So it would be very cool to watch her ignite herself and be that like adventurous mom again that I know she is. She just got really comfortable for a minute.
I feel that 100% because I live here with her like 24/7, so I see everything that happens here, and it's just like after I'd say these past 4 years, like once you've been gone and it's just been us, I think slowly it's been like kind of just like hard for her because she wants to travel, she wants to go do these things, and she knows that Ohio is not, it doesn't give anything to her anymore.
Right. It doesn't like spark any homeness or like joy or adventure for her. It
doesn't, except for Jeff. That's the only thing. But she definitely realizes and recognizes that there's more for her somewhere else other than here.
Love is interesting, and Jordan and I got lucky in that we both, before we even met each other, knew we always wanted to move to Colorado, so it worked out for us that when we got together.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, but
I didn't know that he wanted to move out there.
Really? Yeah, since he was in high school.
It was just your idea, and he was like, I love you, so yeah, let's go.
See, but that's my point too, is that I know that if he didn't want to and I had said, this is my dream, let's do it, he would be like, of course, I love you, I'm all for it, let's do it. So I think that if something is meant to be, then they will react the same way and they will go together. If not, then it's not. But
exactly, then that's a sign that it wasn't meant to be then. In my opinion, I'm all about those signs.
I am too. I hope that they both come, though. I do. I love them both very much. Like you said, Jeff as like a father figure, very, very much so. He was kind of the first man that had come into our life when we were younger, where I felt that he brought a fatherly presence that wasn't too I don't really know the word. Jay I never trusted him. I never wanted them to get married. And Jeff was the first person that had come into mom's life that I was like, oh shit, you better snag this guy.
Right? Yeah. Well, at first I didn't like him, but he grew on me after a while.
I didn't know
You didn't know that? Oh, I drill this story into his brain every year.
I had no idea.
Yeah, okay, so I'll tell that story then. So it's funny to like laugh at because now I just like love him with everything. Yeah. But so at the time, when we still lived with Jay, and she was kind of like moved with Jeff. Remember that?
I forgot she lived in Jeff's trailer for a little bit before we moved.
For a little bit. Yeah. And then so I asked Mom, I was like, dude, I miss you. Can we just like go have dinner? And then she's like, yeah, of course. So she picked me up for dinner, and lo and behold, there's this strange man sitting in the passenger seat.
Not Jeff. Oh, no wonder.
So instantly I was like, who is this motherfucker? What are
No
you
wonder.
doing?
I would have been so mad.
You're invading on my mommy time, okay?
She must have done the introduction lighter with me. Continue with your story, but yeah.
Yeah, this is when I met him, and she was just like, "Oh, this is Jeff." I was just like, "Uh-huh." And so then I remember sitting there, and they sat across from me, and I was just like, there were like some moments where I was like, okay, he might be cool, and then other moments I was just like, okay, not at all, go away. But I think it was just because he was invading on mom time, so I was just like, fuck you. And then so then then I remember like her inviting me over to the trailer, or us into the trailer or something. And or I don't know, because I remember being sick for a few days and like I just wanted mom, and so she was like, well, come stay at the trailer. So then I think it was staying those few nights at the trailer with him, I started to like realize he was like genuinely a cool, funny guy. And then watching him interact with the twins, I was just like, okay,
yeah,
he's cool.
I don't remember exactly when she first introduced me to him. I think that
Really?
Yeah, I think that I only have good memories. I think she told me about him before I actually met him. And this is when she had been staying over at the trailer with him. So I think that she had talked to me about it first. She said, if you absolutely can't stand staying in the house, because she couldn't at the time, like.
Right, that's why she was living with.
But
which
our rooms and our things were there. So I was like, we'll do it. I was like, where are you going to go? And she told me about Jeff at that moment. And she kind of told me their story and how they met. So I think that that's when I first kind of knew about him. So it was far less shocking than your first instance with him, even though I hadn't met him face to face yet. And then when I met him face to face, we went to his trailer, and I think you were with me. And we also met Tyler's grandma, who lived next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all just good experiences from that moment forward, and I really
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a shocking introduction like you did.
Yeah, I was very shocked. But I don't know. Now I love him a lot.
Yeah. It's interesting. Both of our parents have kind of had we've had different reactions. So we talked about Dad and Kim and their relationship, and we were really sad when they broke up. And then we've talked about like Mom and her marriages and like where she is now, and we love the guy she's with, and Jeff is a father to us.
Yeah.
But Dad's side of things, I don't want to give too many details, but it's been really kind of fun to watch now, because
it's fun for me every time I come visit. It's something different.
So I won't talk too much about it, but I think that like Mom's story has been just heartwarming, and we've like brought these really big relationships into our life. Dad has done the same for us, but he's also really just fun to watch, because it's kind of like watching a teenage boy again. And I don't mean that in a mean way. Like, he's a grown man, obviously. He's making grown man decisions. He's doing great for himself professionally and like taking wonderful care of the kids. He's an awesome dad, but it's really awesome to watch. It's like a story from like Real Housewives or something. It's awesome.
Is it really? I can't see. That's why I'm super excited to move out there, is because I can like watch him do his thing and watch the kids do their thing, and I'm just like, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's funny.
So hopefully, like, the whole theme of this has been long distance, and hopefully we're going to be bridging that gap soon, and there won't be any more long distance.
Hopefully.
Cool. Yeah.
And like next year.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Me too. I'm stoked.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, we've been doing this for an hour.
Oh, nice. Ember slept the entire time.
She did. I'm impressed.
Yeah, me too.
Since it's been an hour, I probably do need to go wake her up, and we should probably sign off of here.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So it was great talking to you again, sister. I love you. And
I love you.
To anybody who ends up listening to this, we just shared a lot with you. We shared a lot of Yeah.
We started the channel off with a bang.
Yeah. And, we have just love for everyone we talked about. So like, if we said anything that offended anybody,
we love you.
We love you. It's fine.
Right, exactly. Like,
yeah. All right.
But thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.